everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So I think it's fairly safe to say now that California and New York have just been dethroned as the worst states in the country when it comes to gun control. A new state just passed the biggest gun control package and probably the worst gun control package that I have ever seen. So let's talk about it. Now, real quick before we get started, if you guys enjoy watching Second Amendment content and you support the Constitution, consider hitting that subscribe button. It's free, it only takes a second, but it really helps us spread our message. And it also tells the platform that more people are engaged with content like this, and hopefully it'll mean that we can stick around for a little bit longer. So again, with that being said, hit that subscribe button. That little alarm bell will let you know when new videos come out. Let's get to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what's going on here. So like I said in the very beginning, this is probably one of the worst, if not the worst, gun control bill that I have seen on a state level in my life, and I've seen quite a few. I've lived in California. I lived in California for 42 years, so I've seen some pretty bad stuff, but this one might take the cake. The governor of Massachusetts, Maura Healey, just signed H.4 885 into law, which essentially bans all semi-autos in the entire state. I mean, it is as extreme and as excessive as you could possibly get. It bans what they consider to be, so-called assault weapons, which is nothing new in Massachusetts. They've had one for quite a while now, but this expands on that now, and it expands who's allowed to own what, depending on what license you have. So they have a firearms identification card that you can get that basically says now that you can have some stuff. And then there's a license to carry permit that you can have, which is basically a CCW in Massachusetts that says what other things you're allowed to have. I mean, this thing has gone full bore backwards in terms of our rights in that state. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about real quick when I say that this bans nearly all semi-autos in the state of Massachusetts. This is a summary of H.4 885 by Goals. Goals is the Gun Owners Action League, and this was updated on July 22nd, 2024. So we go down to the part where they talk about the, so-called assault style firearms, right? There is like I said before, there's been a ban on these types for quite a while in Massachusetts, but they expanded on it. Now they have here, it says there's a two feature test, which is distorted by adding now a shroud or foregrip. So anything that has a shroud, which could be considered, a handguard, or a foregrip, is essentially going to be banned. So it says essentially banning every firearm that is semi-automatic centerfire utilizing a detachable magazine. So just like in California, it's detachable magazine. That's like the key point, right? And this other offending feature. So if it has a detachable magazine and then any one of these other features, it's going to fall in that category. And now the fact that they're calling for any type of shroud or foregrip to be added to that definition, it expands it broadly. So it's going to be much, much worse than it was before. And then when it comes to grandfathering, because some people are going to say that there is a grandfather clause, it's only going to be grandfathered for some people. Now, here's the real kicker to that, is that this grandfather clause does not apply to everybody, meaning that you might be in possession of something that is not grandfathered under this once this takes effect on August 1st. So Goals puts it this way in their bullet points. It says to qualify for the exemption for the grandfathering, the items must have been owned by an LTC holder or licensed retailer. So if you don't have a license to carry in Massachusetts, you do not qualify for any more grandfathering under this new law. So that means that you might be in possession of things that aren't supposed to be there. And so it's just an absolute mess. The bullet points continue. This includes most, if not all, semi-automatic rifles and shotguns under the new definition. Mandatory registration. There are no exemptions for rimfire in the new law. Large capacity feeding devices does not include 22 rimfire tubular magazines. Now this bill is huge. It's over 110 pages long, and it covers just about every aspect of your Second Amendment rights. As a matter of fact, this is really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what is covered in this bill. It's going to change everything from the bans on what you can own or possess, all the way to new permitting processes. So if you want to get your permit, let's say that you haven't had one before, you're not up for renewal, whatever, you want to get yourself a permit, it's going to be even more difficult to just get your LTC in that state. As a matter of fact, there's new training requirements, new things that you have to go through, new stuff that you have to learn. There's a whole new curriculum. There's new training outdoors. But the problem is with that is that, again, the law takes effect on August 1st. So it's very soon, right? Which means that all of these new training elements are going to have to be implemented by that time, or no new permits are going to be issued, because you have to satisfy the new requirements in 4885. If those new requirements are not satisfied, then you can't continue on with the training process. So basically, if they don't have things figured out by next Thursday and have people who are actually able to conduct these new training courses, then that's it for that until they finally get that done. And I remember they tried to do something like that in California, and they institute all these new training requirements and things, but they didn't know, nobody knew what to do. It was this big old mess. It was a huge confusion, and people were lost. It was a cluster F. It was terrible. And so that's kind of what's going on in Massachusetts right now, is that this new bill touches every aspect of your right, and it really does create the most anti to a state that I have ever seen. I mean, just the fact that you would even need some type of special ID just to practice a right is absolutely crazy to me. I mean, can you imagine if they tried to say that in order to have free speech, in order to say what you want to say, you have to first go and apply. You have to give all your personal identifying information. They're going to do a background check on you. They're going to do all this stuff just so that you can have free speech. Is it really free speech at that point? I don't think so. Just like this isn't a right anymore if you have to get a permission slip basically from the government. It's now become a privilege, because if they revoke that ID, then you're not able to practice your right anymore. So that is a privilege that was granted by the government. They've essentially eliminated that right in Massachusetts. Now, these two cards, these ID cards, are nothing new there. But again, expanding on them and just making it absolutely worse and more difficult for new people to get them means that they're just pumping the brakes on the Second Amendment in that state altogether. So I wanted to let you guys know about that. I'm going to continue to read as much as I can. There is so many sections, so many definitions, and so much to go through that it's going to take a minute. But again, if you guys check out Goal and their page and their summary of exactly what this covers, it is one of the most eye-opening things that you'll see all day. I can almost guarantee you that. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. H4885, not only did it pass, but it was already signed by the governor. So there you have it. Thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. You guys have a great day.